Hello everyone, welcome to a new chess video. Today I'm bringing you one of those videos you like so much, for several reasons. First of all, because we're playing with the black pieces. You ask me for lots of traps and openings with the black pieces, so here's one. Also, I love it because this opening, or rather this defense, can be used against any white development. So you won't have to wait for them to play this exactly, you can always use it against both e4 and d4. And I'll quickly explain why. First, let's start by seeing what happens if they play e4. Well, we're gonna play d6. This is the first move. Don't worry, it looks like a very soft, quiet move, but it hides many traps we'll see in this video. And if you remember the traps and ideas, you can use them in your games with impressive results. Why is this move so good? Well, first, because since you leave the center open, they'll take it with d4, and if they play d4 first, when you play d6, they'll also play e4. Therefore, we're gonna reach the same position. Alright, let's get to it. Now we want to play e5 directly. It seems like a bit of a weird move. Why? Because your opponent can trade pawns and then trade queens, and we'd lose our castling rights. See? If they take here, we have to take back, and then they take the queen and we can't castle. The thing is, that's exactly what we want, for them to take here. But we're not going to recapture. Instead, we'll play a sort of gambit and play knight c6. Okay, we've already set the first little trap here. They took the pawn because they had to. And second, now we're giving it away. What will happen here with the black pieces? Well, now they'll have to take here. Why? Because if not, we'll recapture this pawn and be in a much better position. So the best solution for white here is to take this pawn, and now they're up a pawn. Perfect, this is exactly what we wanted. We'll recapture with the bishop, and now, well, let's continue the game, right? For example, knight f3 from white, and now, contrary to what white thinks, we want to castle long, okay? Remember this. I always tell you, remember the ideas, not the exact moves. You do have to memorize the first ones, but from then on, remember the ideas. This defense will be very useful to you, I'm telling you the truth. We're gonna castle on the queen side, so we're gonna develop our bishop. In this case, we take the opportunity to pin this knight here. Most opponents are afraid of this pin, so they usually play bishop e2. It's a pretty logical move. And now, once we've reached this position, how should we continue? Well, I've checked the position in the database for a moment, and it says black is equal with white. Does that mean we're even? No, it means we're actually better off, because remember, we're down a pawn, so they should give white the advantage, and if they give us equality, it means we're doing better. Alright, we keep pressing with queen e7, a multi-purpose move that'll always serve us well in this opening, for two reasons. First, because it keeps an eye on the e4 spot that's always going to be right here. And second, because it lets us castle on the very next move. So remember, queen e7 is going to be a great move that'll let us function perfectly. As you can see, we've got a very interesting position. Now, we're about to castle on the next move, but white is too. First, knight c3 to defend this spot, right? Queen e7 doesn't just set up the castle, it attacks this spot, so they have to defend it. And now, we're gonna castle queenside, already setting up a little trap. Notice that this opening, or rather this defense, is full of little traps. What's the trap? Here, if white castles, which looks like a normal move, they've lost the queen, because we have this discovery, check with the bishop, and next we'd take the queen with the rook. So here comes the first little trap. Notice that this opening is full of traps. Alright, so here they can't castle. If they castle, you hit them with the bomb, bishop takes pawn. Now, if they prevent it, which is the best move here, bishop d2, because they have to stop this diagonal here, it doesn't worry us at all. We're gonna stick with our plan. And, well, what's our plan here? The attack? You already know a gambit is for attacking. And first, what we're gonna do is eliminate this knight, which is bothering us a bit, and when they take it, we'll bring the bishop to f5. To f4, sorry. Why? Because look at the interesting pressure we're putting now on the pinned bishop on d2. Now, white is going to lose this bishop if they don't find a fix, since it can't move because of the rook pin, and we're also putting superhuman pressure on it with this bishop. Notice now that after the exchanges, we'd win the queen. All right, here many of you surely think quickly, especially in blitz games. This move is played the most. They put the knight here, and it seems like nothing's happening because they block the file for the rook, plus it attacks our queen and bishop. Well, that would work, except we can take with the rook, and this pawn can't be retaken because it's pinned by the queen. So they'd be giving us the knight for free. It looks like they're saving everything, but they're saving nothing. And besides, they haven't just lost the knight, now they won't be able to defend this spot here either. So whatever they do, we're also going to take this bishop. And a two-piece advantage is enough to win the game very comfortably. I'm sure you're loving this trap, but alright, let's keep going. Because there are many ways for white to play, and I'm going to show you how to handle them all. And you'll see that the idea is fundamental. No matter what white plays, we're going to follow a similar idea. Here, when they play d4, once they get the central structure, we break with e5. Now, we've seen what happened if they captured directly, but they might do something else entirely. All right, right? If they capture here, we don't recapture. Instead, we play knight here, right? Then knight c6. Now, what if they play, for example, knight f3, defending and attacking? Are we gonna take? No, we have several ideas, but anyway, I recommend you first pin this knight directly, since we're gonna do it anyway. So when they play knight f3, we pin it and avoid any trouble. Now they have to capture before things get complicated, and are we gonna recapture? No, knight c6. Why? Because what we want is for them to capture us, so we gain this tempo, and above all, we also open this file to launch queen attacks. Therefore, when they take, we capture with the bishop. Alright, we've given up a pawn, but we have both bishops very active. On the next move, you know what we'll do, and if not, you'll see it in a moment, because it's always the same. And we're already pressing with this bishop for a possible discovered attack here when we castle long. What can the white pieces play here? Earlier, we saw that bishop e2 was a pretty bad move, which seems to reinforce this pin well, but what happens? It leaves this file open for the queen. Therefore, many players with the white pieces might also play bishop e, bishop d3, a slightly more solid move. It seems they don't mind having this knight pinned for now and prefer to block the file. What are we going to play? Well, the same thing, queen e7. As you can see, the most important thing is the ideas, not memorizing moves. We want to place the queen on e7 to castle? This is an idea. Well, you'll have to do it in your games. Once we play queen e7, they can play 1,000 things. For example, castling. Whoops, the rook is going crazy. Right, guys? The rook is going crazy, you know it. We castle too, that's our plan, as you know. And here, white, well, they can play 1,000 things. We're putting a lot of pressure here, as you can see, with the bishop. We're also already making threats with the rook. Therefore, they have to try to do something here. A developing move, knight c3, standard for white, and now we're going to drop the first bombshell. Knight e5, and we're collapsing white's position. Look at that, right? We're right in the opening, but we're already breaking through everywhere. Here we come with the bishop and the knight. We're threatening to open up the king. We're also threatening this bishop right here. Therefore, the most logical move for white is to play bishop e2, to break the pen and also to defend this knight here and avoid doubling pawns just yet. The thing is, we can take advantage, as always, of the tactics. Surely, many of you have already seen the tactic that's here. If not, come on, I invite you to pause the video. For those who haven't found it, how can we win the queen here? Pause the video and I'll give the solution. There it is. The solution is, of course, obviously, knight takes f3. Check. Therefore, they have to recapture. Knight takes f3 was to open this line for the bishop, and now, same as before, we take here with check, and when the king takes, we could take directly. But it's more precise to give the check first to also defend this bishop. Check here, and now we take the queen, and look at the advantage we have. We could continue, for example, with bishop takes bishop, and once this is open, look, we have a queen advantage, and the position's totally won. Let's see now a very peculiar way that you can implement in your games to play as well. Look, d4, we can directly play e5, giving away this pawn. Have you gone crazy, chess teacher? Yes, I've gone crazy. You already know. Teacher, I've gone crazy. You already know. Yes, but this works. You know it because you've seen me play this 1,000 times and winning games like this so many games. First, what? We give away this pawn and now, well, we simply play d6. Why? Because when they take us, we're in a position similar to the one before. We've sacrificed a pawn, but we have the open file, 1, which is what we wanted, and 2, the bishop placed on d6, which we also wanted. Now the white pieces have an advantage. For example, knight f3, development moves, knight c6. What happens? That white doesn't have this pawn here, therefore they've gained a tempo. And many of you will tell me, chess teacher, things have gotten complicated here because I no longer have the pawn here. What if they play e3? Relax, I always tell you the same thing. The important thing is to learn the plan. That is, you don't have to learn the moves, I always tell you. Simply remember the plan well. What is our plan here? Place the bishop on d6, giving away the pawn, then attack with the bishop over here, place the queen on e7, right? To open the file, castle long, to place the rook attacking the queen. These are our plans. If you remember the plan, I assure you that you're gonna win many games. You'll lose very few games. Obviously, if your opponent is much better and crushes you, well, they've crushed you. But, well, this opening will go very, very well for you. So, let's go. They play e3. What move do you think would be the good one here? The good thing is that you think about it at the same time as me. That way, you're going to learn much more. If they play e3, the good move here would be to pin this knight directly. As you can see, this same thing we're doing in the other openings, right? In the other moves from the opponent, we always have the same plan. This is the good thing. Well, we pin over here. Now, the white pieces can continue with bishop e2, for example, calmly, and us, what are we going to do? Well, obviously, queen e7. This is our plan. White can castle and us. What are we going to do? Well, also castle. Notice that we're going to play something similar in all games. If not the same, we're just going to adapt the move order. Here, oops, sorry. Now, you know what we have to do here if white gets careless, right? Bishop takes, check, and we take the queen. So watch out they don't slip up with the move like knight c3, because then we play the interesting one, right? We play the interesting one, as I call it, bishop d2, and they stop everything. So what do? Well, we stick to our plan, right? We're not worried at all. We continue with our little knight. Here, imagine, let's propose an attacking move that we haven't seen until now. What happens if they attack us with this pawn? This is very interesting. We can play the brutal move h5. Why, you'll ask, chess teacher, have you gone crazy again? Are you going crazy today? What's up? You know I've been going crazy lately. It's okay, because it works. Why can we give away this bishop? Normally when we give away this bishop, it's because the queen can join the attack, but here she can't, so they can take it. Chess teacher, no, because here we attack a knight that now has to move. It doesn't matter where, choose for yourselves. Let's assume, for example, I don't know, that it goes to this square right here. So what are we going to do? We come in with the queen. Look at what an interesting move, huh? We come in with the queen, they can kick her out, but look at this now. Come on, I want you all to tell me in the comments how we can win with just one move. We have a winning move here, and the next move will be checkmate. How many of you are going to be able to get it right in the comments? You know that I read absolutely everyone, okay? I want you to leave it in the comments. I read y'all. Come on, this will be the little exercise. How do we win here? I'm sure that many of you have found the winning move, and you'll see how this move here is a total loser, and you win the game. So what lesson do we learn here? That they can't capture this bishop? If they do, even better. And I'm telling you right now that most will capture it. But what if they keep playing normally and don't fall for this little trap? You see, we've been setting little traps for the opponent all game, and if they don't fall for them, it's fine, because this opening is great, and even without the trap, we're in a prime position. That's the beauty of this opening, so you can start playing it. Now what? They played here, they didn't take us, it's no big deal. We have to try to practice what we preach, to see on our own how we're able to attack here. Well, I want you all to think of ways to attack now. You can pause the video if you want, try to think of ways, and I'll show you the one I think is the most effective. Look, now I sometimes like when I have attack plans to eliminate this knight here because it's the defender of the weakest square right now for the white king for the castling. You know that the knight on f3 and the knight on c6 are the smartest and most protective knights for castling. Therefore, sometimes when we eliminate them, there are super strong attack plans. So here there are several moves, like for example, knight to e5, very strong, but another one, even better, queen to e5, directly attacking for checkmate. Notice that here there's only one move to save the castling, so we had to calculate this line because it's forced. They can simply stop it with this move, and now how do we continue? H5, a brutal move. Now they can't capture because mate would follow, they can't advance because mate would follow. And on the next one, we're going to move in, check, with the queen winning a pawn and saying checkmate on the very next move. How would this look? Well, for example, they can't take because it would be mate. They can't advance because it would be mate. They have to do something else. For example, what could they do? Move the queen. Then we capture, we're also coming in through here. They capture, we capture, check, and when the king moves, checkmate. So check it out, huh? An opening, or rather a super interesting defense, where no matter what our opponent does, we have a clear attack plan full of traps, so in fast games, you're going to win so many matches with all the traps I've shown you. Therefore, a very good video to analyze. I want everyone to leave me a big like down here, which is totally free, and you'll be thanking me for everything I'm sharing with you for free, so I really appreciate it a lot. If you leave me a comment looking at some exercise or saying thanks for the video, anything, some constructive criticism, I read all of you. You know that. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the daily video. You already know that here on this channel you have a daily chess video. So I hope you loved this video, and we'll see each other in the next one, friends. Bye.